I never expected to wake up one morning and find myself the top news story in an entire country. It all started when I arrived in Canada, full of excitement and ambition, ready to begin my first year at the University of Windsor. I had come all the way from Norway, eager to chase my dreams, but things didn't go as planned. Due to some confusion during course registration, I ended up with none of the classes I actually needed for my major. When I went to the registrar's office to sort things out, they essentially told me, "Tough luck, it's your fault." Frustrated but not ready to back down, I decided to take an unconventional approach. If the university wasn't going to help me, maybe the media would. So on a whim, I picked up the phone and called CBC, Canada's national news network. I thought, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Turns out, what happened next was way beyond anything I could have imagined. I didn't really expect much from my call to CBC. Maybe a short segment on local news, maybe nothing at all. But when the reporter actually showed interest, I felt a small flicker of hope. A few days later, a camera crew showed up at my dorm. It was a gloomy, rainy day, almost poetic, given my situation. They followed me around campus, filming me as I wandered between buildings, my backpack slung over one shoulder, my hands shoved deep into my pockets. I must have looked completely defeated. And in that moment, the story they crafted painted a picture of a young Norwegian student, full of dreams, standing alone in a foreign country, unable to take the classes he came all this way for. I wasn't acting. I really did feel lost. The rain soaked my jacket. The wind bit my skin. And all I could think about was how absurd it was that I had to go through all of this just to take a few damn classes. When the interview wrapped up, the reporter told me they weren't sure if the piece would even make it to air. I nodded, thanked them, and went back to my dorm, still unsure if any of this would make a difference. The next morning, I woke up with a mix of anticipation and resignation. I turned on the TV, half hoping to see my story on the local news, but as the broadcast wrapped up with no mention of me, I sighed and figured that was the end of it. Maybe it wasn't dramatic enough. Maybe my 15 minutes of fame had been cut down to zero. Still groggy, I shuffled into the kitchen to make breakfast, the TV still playing in the background. I wasn't even paying attention, until I heard something that made me freeze mid-step. A Norwegian student left stranded without classes at the University of Windsor. Wait, what? I rushed back to the living room, eyes glued to the screen. And there I was, not on the local news, but on Canada's national news. My face, my story, broadcast to the entire country. I stood there in shock as they played clips of me walking through campus, rain dripping from my jacket, looking every bit like a tragic protagonist in some kind of student documentary. My heart pounded. How did this even happen? I had expected, at most, a short segment on a community news channel, not a headline story nationwide. And before I even had time to process what this meant, my phone rang. The number flashing on the screen? The University of Windsor. I hesitated before answering, my mind still spinning from what I'd just seen on TV. When I finally picked up, the voice on the other end was frantic. "Hello, is this, you?" The man sounded out of breath, like he'd been running from a fire. "Yes, this is the dean of the university. Listen, we saw the news this morning. And first of all, let me personally apologize for the mix-up. This is absolutely unacceptable. We want to fix this." Immediately, I blinked, still trying to catch up. Just yesterday, the registrar's office had practically laughed me out the door. Now, the dean himself was calling me, practically falling over himself to make things right. "You can enroll in any courses you want," he continued. "Whatever you need for your major, we'll make it happen. Just come by my office, and we'll get everything sorted today." I didn't know whether to laugh or be completely dumbfounded. A part of me wanted to say, "Oh, now it's urgent?" But instead, I just let out a breath and said, "All right, I'll be there." Hanging up the phone, I finally sat down, staring at the TV as the news segment looped again. It hit me then. Somehow, in the span of 24 hours, I had gone from a nameless, frustrated student to a nationwide headline. And now, thanks to a little well-placed drama and the power of the media, I was about to get exactly what I wanted.
Thanks for listening to my story. It's been a heavy one to share. I'm still figuring out what comes next, but having you here means a lot. If you connected with this, please hit that subscribe button for Life Reflections. I'd love to have you along for more real moments like this. Take care, everyone.